Talked about it yesterday, and then I came across this very article, and I just thought, hey, why not dispel the entire myth about BMI telling you how healthy you actually are? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Vin Diesel, the chiseled Hollywood stars. You got to stop that for a second. Vin Diesel, I've seen him in later years, okay, in more recent times. Chiseled is not exactly what I'd use to describe him. During the time of Pitch Black, Chronicles of Riddick, the first couple of Fast and Furious films, okay, not that pudgy guy that's all about family nowadays. Not exactly what I'd describe as being chiseled, but I've also made this point as well, and then I've also outlined my own personal exercise, and I think we ran that test as well just to show you how wildly absurd BMI is, because it just takes raw data, height, weight, and here's your score. Okay, it was always an entry-level test when I was seeing actively clients, sorry. And it was helpful to use as some sort of a tracking metric, okay, along with measurements, and because simply looking at a scale doesn't really normally reflect, because again, you might not be losing that much weight at the same time, especially if you're doing cardiovascular exercise on top of weightlifting, okay? When you loop all of this stuff together and you track it all consistently, let's get rid of this stupid little video off on the side with this old lady. Don't really care about her. You get a much more complete vision of what you're doing when you're along your fitness journey. And again, just throwing BMI to the side, because it's not going to actually tell you what it means to be fit and healthy. It's one of those peak vanity metrics, if we're being completely honest. And this is somebody who's done all the research and got the degree and the little goofy piece of paper to prove it. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, fat? You'd be forgiven for thinking not, but according to official weight calculators, the Hollywood hunk is technically obese. But though a wrestler cum actor famed for his chiseled physique isn't the only superstar wrongly labeled as in the body mass index formula. Fellow Fast and Furious actor Vin Diesel is also considered too flabby with a BMI of 30, one shy of Dwayne. Meanwhile, the Terminator himself, legendary Arnold Schwarzenegger. If I could go ahead and pull out the video for a sec, I might. No, I don't have just a regular camera shot. I got a picture of Arnold right above just off to my side. I got it right there in the picture. It's all matted and framed. It's very nice. It's from the pumping iron days. He's got his arms stretched. Everybody's seen that picture in front of the tent where he's at the local bodybuilding competition. It's so wonderful. It's great. I'm a big fan of Arnold. And again, kind of like how Vin Diesel's not exactly a chiseled actor in his later days, Arnold Schwarzenegger's not exactly an up-and-up role model in his later years. Screw your freedoms. Experts say celebrity examples are proof that it is time to finally ditch the hated go-to measurement. And again, you use it as just an introductory because it's an easy calculation to run. Speaking as a personal trainer here for a second, okay? And it's something that you can continue to track just to show your clients' progress, because some people just really need that validation to continue to go, while others are like, well, this is just kind of stupid. But again, Schwarzenegger sat dangerously close to morbidly obese threshold at his peak physical fitness in the 1980s. Was that during his less than stellar showing at the Olympia? Anyways, that fourth Olympia where there's not a lot of video footage out there, he was looking a little bit iffy, but it pales in comparison to, what was that, 1995 Dorian Yates, where he had a torn bicep and then still magically won the Olympia. Weird. Anyways, more about that. I'll do another bodybuilding specific video on the main channel. Anyways, with the whopping BMI of 33. You see how stupid this stuff is? Arnold Schwarzenegger. This was during the time that he was probably Conan. During the 80s when he was the coolest man alive. He was on the brink of morbid obesity. Okay. Experts say celebrity examples are proof. Oh, finally, ditch it. All right. Calls came to a head yesterday as researchers said BMI should be replaced with lesser known waist to hip ratio because it better predicts whether someone will die young. Hey, we talked about that yesterday. Weird. Devised by a Belgian mathematician in the 1830s, doctors have now relied on BMI for almost 2 centuries. And not doctors worth their salt nowadays. Used to categorize people as underweight, score below 18.5, healthy 18.5 to 24.9, overweight 25 to 29.9, and obese 30 or more. Has one major flaw. Yes, BMI is incapable of differentiating between fat distribution and muscle mass. Exactly. It just takes weight in totality, slaps it against height, and gives you a score. Realistically, it means a rugby player and a couch potato can be the exact same height and weight and share the same scores. Exactly. That's where it fails. Even the former has ripped physique and other carries a spare tire. Exactly. Yeah, you take a look at this stuff right here. Can we pull this out here for a second? Yeah, you can see, actually you can see all the relevant information that's on. That's all I care about. Yeah, like it shows. Vin Diesel's probably the only one where he'd be like, you could probably go back to the gym. You could rekindle the old glory days there, Vin, for a second. Okay, 6 feet tall, 16 stone, 1 pound. I don't know what that is. Give me real measurements. And Arnold, that looks like from the Hercules in New York days, for Christ's sakes, because that's not quite the Austrian oak chest that he has right there, and the definition's a bit off. So it's not saying that's a bad physique at all. And then Dwayne, I don't know how many did the chemicals count in the BMI calculation? Just saying. But yes, hip to weight ratio. I personally have never conducted this, but again, also have done measurements and caliper tests as well, like I illustrated yesterday. I didn't do them yesterday, but I told you about them as well. Measure your waist at the narrowest point, yeah, right above the hip bones, right at or above the hip bones, okay? And then the hips measure at the widest point of the hips. Yeah, I ran those, but I might not have done that ratio before. I've definitely performed those measurements, just never ran the ratio. Okay, women, 8 is low, 81 to 85 is mid, and 0.85 and over is high. And for men, all that stuff there, you can see it anyways. My mouse is just being completely abominable today. Unbelievable. Won't even stay connected or anything like that. Yeah, you can make out all of those visuals that are on the side. I got to put it across because, again, the way that this thing crops, it's just ridiculous. Dr. Arya Sharma, an obesity expert at the University of Alberta. And what? Oh, yeah, they're doing this research down here in my backyard. Unbelievable. Told the Mail Online the examples show how BMI measures how large someone is, not how obese. BMI is a measure of size, not health. Obesity is a medical diagnosis that should be based on the presence of health impairments resulting from excess body fat. It is not diagnosed simply by stepping on a scale. Yes, indeed. Ifra Khan, no relation. Okay. The medical student based in the University College Cork, who penned the latest paper calling BMI to be ditched, said it doesn't reliably predict risk or health or disease or mortality. Judging a waist to hip ratio. There we go. Can help people work out if they're carrying excess weight around their middle. Mr. Khan and fellow Khan experts had said, gotta get that in. Okay. Studies have repeatedly shown the spare tire, as colloquially known, can drive up the risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and other ailments. Did a video on this legitimately yesterday. Unbelievable. This stuff never happens. Ratio of the circumference of your waist, usually just above your belly button, divided by that of your hip or your widest part of your buttocks. And we went through all of the numbers there as well. And why they do those measurements, again, I think I detailed that yesterday. Yeah. Where it's, again, the way that most people store fat. Okay, it's different amongst the sexes. Imagine that. It's wild. Who could have possibly thought that there's difference between the two? But men tend to store their fat, okay, their excess energy that they acquire through eating too much and not exercising enough, around their abdomen, on the sides. Okay, that's where they go from the first point. So love handles and the spare tire. That's what happens for men more often than not. And for women, they store it around the hips and the butt. Okay, that's what happened. And that's why they want to run both of those measurements, compare against the two. And there you go. Again, like when I was in school and we were talking about BMI and how ridiculous and ludicrous it is, just go ahead and you just run any of the numbers, okay, of any professional athlete that's out there, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to be morbidly obese, whether it's an offensive lineman in the NFL or a middle linebacker. There's a big difference in the body composition there, but they're more often than not going to end up at the exact same numbers. Mr. Khan said celebrity examples demonstrate the flaws behind BMI. It exactly captures the main point of the study, regardless of your BMI waist to hip ratio. Need to get that right. It remains consistent in its strength of predicting death. Oh boy, this guy must be fun at parties. As seen by the photographs, even oh, even if they have an obese BMI, that doesn't necessarily mean they will have an increased risk of disease or mortality. But again, if you're going to be running the numbers when it comes to The Rock, you also got to factor in a couple of other things as well, okay? Or his close association with the Clintons and how that'll negatively affect his life. But hey, man, if you want to run the numbers for yourself at home, here are the simple metrics. Standard formula. BMI equals weight in pounds over height in inches by height in inches. Run that calculation first and then multiply it by 703. Why 703? Don't ask me that question. The metric formula, your weight in kilograms by height in meters by height in meters. Ta-da! Measurements, under 18.5, you're underweight, which again isn't necessarily a bad thing. Because I do like my skinny, tall blondes. 18.5 to 24.9, you're healthy. 25 to just about 30, you're overweight. 30 to 49, to 39.9, you're obese. And 40 and over, you're practically walking death. Unless, of course, you're an athlete, and then you can eclipse that 40 and then just be like, well, I'm just going to go bench 6 plates. The nice little study you have there, dork. So yeah, the fitness community has scoffed at BMI for a very long time, but now that you can have the very obvious examples, especially when you take a look at, some of the more prominent figures of all time, and then just realize, yeah, that whole BMI thing isn't exactly the best measurement of health, now is it? But it's been pushed forever. Hey guys, just trust the experts, right? They never lead you wrong, do they? So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.